Oh, yes! City is still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Special beyond special.
Best player in the Premier League.
Captain Marvel. Drogba! Rooney! Oh, wonderful! That is one Derby diamond.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's match day.
What's up, guys? It's Clash of Clubs, No Dylan, episode 36. We're going to be talking about Champions League and then the Match Week 32 Premier League. So we have Shadman and Brendan here. Brendan's going to be representing the Arsenal, and Shadman will be a Madrid stuff for today. I'm going to let you guys go into it, but who wants to start? And what are you guys looking forward to for this match tomorrow?
I mean, it's a welcome to the Champions League moment for us. We've been out for a bit. We had a good match against Bayern last time, but going out to one of the bigger teams. I think the last time we played Madrid in the Champions League was like 2006, so it's not really something I've seen before. I mean, we did come out of that no goals conceded, so would hope for that again tomorrow, but we'll see how it goes.
You're on mute.
Oh, you're muted, Chad.
I'm not looking forward to anything. I've been playing like shit.
That's what I was gonna ask. Like, you guys, it's only been 2 games, but no wins in the last 2 before a big game like this. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. We'll show up, but we've just been so shit, and so I'm not really looking forward to singing anything. Maybe Champions League magic moment again, because like we could show up. We can always show up. We clearly have the team. We have arguably one of the best teams on paper, if not the best team in Europe on paper. So we can show up at any point. It's just a matter of will we? We'll see. It's been really shit. I do want to say, leading up to this, every Arsenal fan that I've spoken to has claimed that there's absolutely no pressure on Arsenal, and that they're not even supposed to be there type shit. So I just want to read some stats. Arsenal haven't lost in the past 7 games. All right, they haven't been very impressive. They haven't lost in the past 7. Real Madrid haven't kept a clean sheet in the past 8. All right. Arsenal have been the first to score in 5 out of 6 games. In the 5 out of their last 6 games, Real Madrid have been the first to concede in 4 of their last 5 games. So I'd argue, at least for the first leg, all the pressure is on Arsenal,
Especially at home.
I mean, is this a Real Madrid underdog gimmick? Like, I feel like this is their time of the season every time, right? It doesn't matter what the form is. It doesn't matter who's out. This is when they show up.
No. That. Well, yes, that's true. But the difference every season we're playing some sort of good football. Either
Yeah, I wouldn't say Arsenal are like some huge, like massive underdog in this game. Like, I think before the tournament started, or at least after the group stage, Arsenal's betting odds for it was up there with like City at the beginning, like City, Liverpool, Arsenal. Like, I think it was above Madrid's. I mean, obviously, like with the whole front line going out and like the lack of goals, like we've definitely dropped below. I think a lot of people expect Madrid to come out of it. But I'd put like the odds, like just percentage wise of going through for Arsenal, like 35-40%. Like, I don't know if the pressure's all on them, but I wouldn't say it's like a big disparity.
Okay. Yeah. What, Mia? Go ahead.
I think in like the context of the tournament is where some of that confusion might come in, where like you guys are so dominant over the years. Doesn't matter which squad you have, just as a club, you're dominant. So more pressure is on you guys in that sense, just because you have an expectation. Whereas, like Brendan said, it's a welcome back to the Champions League type of thing. Where
I was just weathering the statements.
I think the Champions League games always tend to come down to, or at least often can come down to, individual talents, and individual brilliance is really what can put teams over the edge. I mean, Madrid always have that, but I mean, Saka coming back, I mean, that surely gives you some hope. But Marino being up top, like that alone is just like, they have Marino, the other team has Kylian Mbappe.
I
There's just
wonder if
such a
Marino's going to
drop-off.
get the start. Like,
Well, like who?
I
Well,
think.
maybe because Saka's
Marino-
back, you throw Trossard up top.
I mean, I think on paper, like if you look at what Arteta was doing last season before Havertz hit form, it would probably be Trossard in the middle, Martinelli on the left, Saka on the right, and like on paper it makes more sense. But you kind of have to look at the form of Marino and say, like, as dumb as it is, like it's been working. Like I think since he's been starting up top in the Prem, like there's only like one or two striker, like actual
Yeah, he's
strikers
been
who could
scoring
have better
goals.
numbers. So I don't know. I mean, it's risky to do it, but I could see him going Trossard up top if he wants to play it a little bit safer.
And then
I just
Gabriel
don't-
being hurt, for me, that's what kind of put it over the top, where that's really going to be tough to overcome. I think that injury is probably harder to overcome than Marino being up top. At least that's how I feel about it. But I mean, Madrid, you guys definitely have some injuries too, though, Sean. I know Tchouameni's suspended, but Valverde's probably playing right back.
I think we'll be fine.
Garcia's probably playing left. I saw something, he might play Alaba at left back.
Yeah, Alaba maybe.
Be rough. Alaba
Coming off injury, I don't think that'd be a good idea.
I do like that it's on Saka's side though.
I don't think there's any way in hell that you play a recovering Alaba against.
I saw a tweet.
A Saka. It'd be
recovering Saka.
I know.
So it could be a.
Yeah, but like even at like recovering young guy versus recovering old guy is just the easy way to put it, and it's just on paper it doesn't make sense. Alaba's a super intelligent defender though, so maybe that's why. But I
do wonder what the Madrid midfield is going to look like, because they're probably starting Modric.
I think Camavinga is probably the 6.
Yeah, probably coming at 6.
Tchouameni's not there.
Does Modric get through 90 minutes these days? Like, does he have the legs for
that? I've seen.
He sure does. He's played 90 minutes like 4 or 5 times this season. He's looked fine. But
it's not frequent.
It depends on
because they don't need him to play for 90 minutes.
It really depends on the pace of the game, and if he starts games, he'll usually not finish them. But he has
Danny Ceballos grudge match.
Ceballos might play.
Is he fit? I think I saw he's back in training.
We'll see. I think it's going to be like a day-to-day thing. I don't think he's like supposed to be back. I don't think we're counting on him. We're not counting on him.
They're probably Camavinga, Modric, Bellingham.
Yeah, probably.
That plays.
Yeah.
That's be very, very weak. It's just listen. If we can't play any defense, then we're gonna have to hold the ball, and it's very possible. But that when we hold the ball, we're not like attacking the way that our team's set up. So it all kind of fucks each other over. So that's kind of why I'm not really looking forward to it, because the way we have to play this game is not going to be like.
Yeah, Bellingham's going to run like 5 miles out there.
Yeah, but he does that every game, unfortunately.
No, for sure. But he's really going to have to another extra mile on top of the extra mile he's already running.
I actually looked up how on average, like what football players run in a game, and it's like on average 4 to 5 miles. So he'll probably run like 10 miles.
Yeah, no. Yeah, and Kunku runs half a kilometer.
Yeah, he carries us, dude. He's such a beast. We would be in big trouble without that guy.
What's been going on with the penalties at Madrid? Like, you guys have a set taker, or like it seems like Vinny's been missing all of his.
I guess not. So everyone thought that Vinny was the set taker, but I think they just said that there's no set taker, and they just kind of with it.
Pochettino did that last season, so it's a good manager to base your work off of.
It's happening a lot. It's not just those two teams. A lot of teams can't find a penalty taker.
I mean, it's also like people are shitting on Vinny, bro. It's not Vinny. Like, okay, he missed a fucking penalty, bro. It sucks that it happened 2 games in a row. Like, he's missed just as many as Mbappe. Like, what are people asking for? Like, let the player just go do his thing. Like, everyone needs to just shut the fuck up. Like, everyone acts like they're managers and they're so smart. I watch like random people that talk about Real Madrid being like, "Oh, I would do a better job than Ancelotti." I'm like, who are you? Like, who are you? I'm like, please stop this. Like, it's a tough little period. Yeah, it is. Granted, every team goes through it. Ancelotti might not be the right man for the job, but I sure as hell don't think that I could go in there and do a better job. Like, they're working with what they've got. Right now, there's no balance. Like, the team is that's why I personally I love Camavinga. I think we need to get rid of him. I think we need a different profile of midfielder. He's not like the center mid we need. He's too much flair, too much pizzazz. We need someone with like Ceballos but better. Not Ceballos, but someone who slows.
The Tony Cruz gap.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're really missing that. And obviously,
Is that Trent?
huh?
Is that going to be Trent, or is Trent the right back?
No. Trent can be
seriously,
because he can play that ball and he can slow the game down. But and we would be able to play Valverde in midfield, which would be nice. So I think he can make a big difference. But we need a center back too. Like,
You need like 3.
yeah, but we need at least one.
Is this a short of a trial for Real Madrid shot? Would you say that?
Nah, he's coming. He's coming eventually. Maybe not this season, but definitely next season. Right now, I just want Hudson.
Hoyson, yeah. Now he can play.
I just want that kid, dude.
So I guess what are all things considered? What do you guys kind of see the first leg? Kind of how do you see it playing out? Like, other than just kind of a score, which I would want to, like, a little score prediction, but like, how do you kind of see the game going tactically, or like just the flow of it?
I think it'll be a high possession game for Arsenal. Whether they can break through or not, I mean, they haven't been like that fluid lately. But like, one moment from Saka, Martinelli's been picking up a little bit lately. Like, I feel like both teams will score. Like, I could see like a 2-1 in the first leg maybe for Arsenal. But on the counter, like, having Kiwior back there instead of Gabriel, like, it's just so scary the whole time. Like, Gabriel relishes in those big games where he just picks somebody like Holland or whoever's up front for them, and he makes it like a personal battle. Like, sometimes he wins, sometimes he loses it, but you can tell he gets under their skin. And like, I'm just scarred from last season. Like, Kiwior was doing well the entire year until that game against Bayern, like the biggest game when it mattered the most, and like he just gets rinsed by Sane, he gets rinsed by all of their best wingers. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna tentatively say 2-1 Arsenal, but I think it's scary. Whatever, even a one goal lead going back to the Bernabeu is scary. So I'm not that content with that.
Shut.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, dude. This is gonna be very tough. Every game we've come out has looked completely fucking different. Some games
Is it just another basketball game, just back and forth,
like, it could be. I think that's probably like my guess is that Arsenal are going to attack a lot. They're just not going to be able to finish. They're going to get chances too. They just won't be able to really finish and like capitalize on like the 2-3 chances they get in the first half. And then that defense is shaky. Like, I don't think like I think Timber and Saliba, I think that right side is super, like, that's solid side. They have that those players can play. I think Skelly is at a very high risk of catching a very early yellow card and just being cooked the entire game. I think he's a good player.
And bring in Zinchenko for that.
But like Rodrigo is greedy. Like, Rodrigo is like gonna be running all around that guy. Like, it's gonna be like he's gonna stop him. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's just gonna cook him the whole time, but like the chances of him getting a yellow card in the first half very high. And I mean, Vinny, he's gonna be hit or miss. Like, I love him. He's great, but he doesn't always show out. But during the Champions League, he usually does. So we'll see. Mbappe is great. He's on great form. So I think the fact that Arsenal are going to be attacking and they're going to hold a decent amount of the ball and actually create chances is going to play into our attack. And that's why, like, I actually think it's going to be like 2-1, 3-1 for Madrid. And then we're actually going to shit the bed at home. That's what I feel like is going to happen. I don't think we're going to like I think we're still gonna go through, but I think we're gonna like lose like 1-0 at home or something like that.
Oh, dude, I see the logic. I don't know. You guys are so good at home. No one wants to play you guys at home. It's an
We just
extra
lost to
little.
fucking Valencia.
I
at
know,
home.
but it's not the Champions League at home. It's a
Yeah,
different,
it was just
a
the
whole
league.
different fixture.
The league
Yeah,
away.
Yeah.
there's a few of those young players in the Arsenal team that like first big Champions League away match at the Bernabeu, like that's got to be kind of scary. Like,
Yeah, definitely. I think overall, that Arsenal team is going to be pretty rattled. And I mean, this is as high as they've ever been, and you know, our guys are going to come in there like probably feeling like a certain amount of pressure because they've been playing like shit, but they're gonna they're gonna recognize that pressure. So I don't know. I think it will be like a lot would have to go wrong for Madrid not to get at least a couple of goals.
There's just too much talent for me up top to that
That's
point. Like
yeah.
Mbappe, Vinny, Rodrigo, like all three of them have to have an off night, and then you still have Bellingham to worry about in terms of goal threat. There's just too much firepower there, especially with the handicapped defense. Like if they had Gabriel Saliba on their A game on the night at home, absolutely.
even Calafiore would be nice if we had that option.
I don't even think about him just because he can't, at least as of now, hasn't a good run of games before getting hurt, unfortunately.
It's always with Italy too. It's like he comes back.
I barely even factor it in. But I think, the only other thing I can really think of as a factor is Arsenal. This is the only thing left to play for. Top 5, 4, whatever is secured. There's no other cup competition. This is it versus Madrid. They're 4 points off in the league. Like the league is absolutely on. Every game in the league's a cup final, right? Like that's kind of the mentality there. So
yeah, Madrid's still fighting for all three of them. Like it's different than where we were at last year, where like we dropped out of the quarterfinals to Bayern, and then it's like, okay, well, the league's like still kind of the main focus. Like it's not a huge loss. This one, like, I don't know if it's pressure, if it's motivation, but they go into that game knowing that like if they don't get a result at home or if they lose at home, going to the Bernabeu, like their season's just done. So.
And
to your point about fan wants that.
To your point about the younger players, like to them, the Bernabeu is like a mythical place. Like they haven't even been there yet, and like you're gonna go there down 2-1, 3-1, it's already over. Like some of them will just be like, "Oh wow," like they haven't even been there. Versus the players at Madrid, they've already won this competition. They're just like, "Oh, cool, quarterfinals. We got the league to worry about." Like they're on autopilot.
I think it'd be a little bit different too if it was like the first year that this Arsenal team was really like breaking through. Even though some of the players are younger, I think like this being like their third season as like one of the top 5, top 10, whatever teams in the world, I think that like it's a little bit different than like if it's some Cinderella run like Aston Villa are having right now. Like you send those players who it's their like one and only chance to a game like that. I don't think they're gonna like shit the bed, but I think that like it just might be a bit of like a wake up call for some of those players like Skelly, like Nwaneri, like you see if like they really have it on that stage.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like the thing that gives me a little bit of peace is just like when I look at that Arsenal team, I'm just like, who can score?
7.
And the only person that like rings is Saka.
Mikel Merino.
No, like yes, I'm not worried. Like
right.
So like that's the only thing that gives me a little bit of peace of mind, even though we're playing like shit. Is just like they don't have goal scorers. Like Odegaard is gonna get the ball right in front of the goal and he's gonna hit it over.
Yeah, Odegaard. I'm so curious how he's gonna play. Like I thought he was like their best player last season, and then he just lost his ability to finish from that one goal that he scored like 10 times in a row, just edge of the box, just slotting it in the corner. Like he just lost the ability to do that completely.
Changed his play styles up. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's got to be a little bit of a game planning around that, trying to prevent that a little bit, just to throw it off.
Yeah, Madrid out of possession are always just all over the place. At least when I'm watching Champions League, like the out of possession shape is just crazy. So like there's going to be opportunities, but at the same time, as soon as they win the ball back and they break the first line of pressure, that's going to be a tough day. That's a long day. And Raya, who I do think is a very good goalkeeper, has some moments in him, if we want to put it that way. And there's going to be a lot of points throughout the 2 legs where he's going to be called into action, where it's like, am I coming out? Am I staying on my, like, I don't know. There's a lot of factors that play against it to Arsenal at this point. For me, I haven't given my prediction yet, but I think 3-0, maybe 3-1, just because I think Saka is that good. He can literally create something out of nothing. To Shad's point, he's the only real creative threat in that sense. But I just see the firepower being too much. Having said that, I absolutely do see a reality where that doesn't happen. To Brendan's point, like they can miss chances. These guys they might not be on it, but I don't know. I just think there's too much there and not enough in Arsenal's team at this point. What do you think, Mila?
Brendan, hold on. Brendan,
Oh.
what scoreline would you be comfortable with going into the Bernabeu?
Like,
Or what difference in goals?
I think 2-0. 2-0. The thing is, like, there's no safe scoreline, but I think if it's more than 1 goal, the pressure's a little bit more in Madrid. Like, I think if it's like 1-0, 2-1, Madrid can just get that early goal, something that evens it out really quickly, and then you have that momentum shift, home stadium, like the crowd behind you. I think like it's unreasonable to say that like we would expect anything over like a 2-goal cushion. But at 2-0, I could see Arteta putting like a defensively sound enough lineup out there that like they could concede 1 and not crack.
Just standard lineup.
To your regular lineup.
I mean, we don't really have
Standard
the facilities to like
I
that game against
know
City where
why
we-
you guys do
No,
it,
go
but, like,
Rice, Partey, Jorginho, midfield 3, and park it.
Nah, dude, I don't want to see Unk on that field. Like we got Sterling banned. That was the main goal of the round of 16.
How did he get suspended?
I don't know.
I just
I
saw
think
that.
he like scored too, right? And then just got sent off.
Yeah.
It's exactly what
Dude,
you
he's
what
like,
you'd want from
I don't
him.
know how much you guys watch basketball, but he's like that PJ Tucker role, and he's like not even 30 yet, where he's just the bench guy that shouldn't play. You know,
Yeah.
he's just tracksuit the full 90, like he's the clubhouse presence. Like that's tough because we got to sell this guy. Man,
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to have you all do your predictions again, but also say who you think is going to be the most important player.
All right. I've got it 3-0 for Real Madrid, and I think the key player in this one is Mbappe.
Okay.
Or Shad.
Brandon, Brandon, you're not asked.
All right, I'll say I'm gonna say Mbappe ghost game. I don't think Mbappe shows up.
Oh.
Maybe back at the Bernabeu, but I think he's gonna go missing a little bit.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 2-1 Arsenal. Saka main player. I need a big game out of Declan Rice here. I think I've even been seeing some shouts that Declan might be used as a center back because I mean it depends who Arteta wants to put his trust in, but I don't know. I think we need him in the middle.
I'm not even mad at that. I'm actually not mad at that at all.
Yeah, it's not the worst option, but
You could throw if Marino goes back to midfield and Trossard's up top, like that might work.
he's done it before. But I'll go with Saka. I mean, he's hasn't put a foot wrong since he's come back. So I'd say 2-1 Saka goal or assist is almost guaranteed.
Okay. I'm going 3-1, and for Real Madrid, and Jude Bellingham's always the most important player on that team.
Nice. I had a feeling. I think it'll be 1-0 to Madrid. And I do have Courtois as being the main man.
Yeah, Courtois being back scares me, honestly.
Yeah. I do think that Arsenal are going to have chances. And I know we're talking about they might not finish them, but I don't necessarily think that'll just be them missing the target. I do think some of these are going to be half-assed, and then Courtois will probably have to come into play. Like
Yeah, you know better than most.
Takes a lot to beat him.
Yeah.
I don't even like the guy.
No, me neither.
I just respect him.
No, he's top.
I have a question for you guys. Whoever gets through this tie, do you think they get through PSG after? Like, assuming they beat Villa. Yeah, 'cause that's what I was gonna say. I don't think we have a great chance of like winning the whole.
The team's
whole
named
tournament.
Real Madrid. Yes.
Even Madrid, I don't like. I mean, obviously there's a lot of time before the next leg, but I don't see Madrid getting through PSG right now. Just from a pure like entertainment standpoint, I think a PSG Barca final would be like the best game that it could be.
In terms of
I agree.
the product on the pitch, yeah, I'd agree with that take. But
That would just be
Madrid's
end-to-end madness.
For me, it's impossible to go against them. And I know their form's been bad, but in this competition, it's just very hard to say confidently, at least, like, yeah, they'll bin it off. Like, there's just something about it. I can't say.
Let's say
I
that
can't say
Madrid
until they do it.
win the fixtures, and then
Okay.
they go through.
And they got PSG.
You have to. I think we have to think about, like, PSG are gonna want to beat Mbappe.
Oh,
that would be
most
so
definitely.
funny.
Some of those
That'd be a
guys that were just
great
sitting there
semifinal.
in the shadow behind it, like,
I mean, Kvara
might
doesn't know
not-
what's going on, but he'll still play well.
exactly. But the other guys will. The other guys that were sitting there on this team and it wasn't performing because there was that hierarchy going on there. I feel like that's going to come into play if they
You
do
think
make
Kang's
it that
got
far.
something to unleash?
Maybe he was a little newer.
I think
I
that
like
would be
him.
one of the best storylines if like the PSG kids beat Mbappe after he leaves.
It would be
for the
very funny.
Champions League.
It would be very funny.
If we're doing a little
I think
storybook champion,
PSG and Barca are the best teams in the competition right now.
Yeah.
Form-wise.
I mean,
For sure.
people don't talk about Inter too much, but I mean, they were obviously in the final a few years ago. They've been,
No,
and the only
they're
reason I bring it up too
performing
is because Musiala went down. Musiala's
third
hurt. So
franchise.
they probably
Davies
get-
too. Davies is out.
Yeah, Musiala, Davies are both hurt.
Okay,
I think they probably get through Bayern.
Not getting past Barcelona, there's 0%.
I agree.
Zero.
I mean, they did it a few years ago, but obviously it's a completely different Barcelona
Yeah.
team. But
even that Inter team, that was the worst final. We won. I was stoked about it, but that was not even enjoyable to watch.
no, I'm just
Team is-
saying. I mean, defensively, I think they've conceded like 2 goals in the competition
Yeah,
so far. Like they're,
Yeah.
I don't know. Barca's a tough team to beat. I agree, but there's definitely a puncher's chance for me with Inter.
Barca's putting like 4 past like Atletico Madrid though. Like they can set up a block as hard as they want back there. Like Barcelona's gonna fucking break it.
They just get through it so quickly. Like before any team can set like their defensive shape, like they just have all 3 of their players running in behind.
You're the last team you want to fucking set up a block against. It doesn't make sense to me. Like they'll fucking like pass through it like it's butter. Like you want to put pressure on them as much as you can, like controlled pressure. But anyways, beyond like it's just like every time I see someone park the bus against Barca, it's just.
I don't think Inter would park the bus in that situation. I think Inzaghi's a good enough coach to game plan and kind of put together the best possible game plan. The system is really fluid. Those guys have played together for a while. I think they have a fighter's chance, and I just think they definitely get past Bayern now with the injuries that Bayern are up against. So I'm interested to see how everything plays out.
All around the board.
What do you say?
Aston Villa beats PSG.
That'd be crazy. Dortmund, I literally think there's 0 chance.
That's the only one we won't go.
There's
Yeah,
0
Dortmund
chance.
went
There
through.
is
Yeah,
0
So
chance.
annoying.
There's no chance.
I mean, people
What's the-
would have said this last year, but there's no way again. It can't happen.
No, because they're in like 10th now.
Dortmund, the type of
They're
team,
terrible.
they'll go up 1-0 first leg,
And then concede
they'll
8.
get demolished.
No, I think they hold 8 in that in between those 2 legs.
Wow.
It's very possible, yeah.
Because Barca won't stop. They won't be like, "Oh, we're up 3, we're good." They will keep
Yeah.
going.
No, I think you're right, but it's a big.
They have their center
Big
back
sum of
taking
goals.
corners, bro. He's not going to be able to get back. Long day.
One thing we were talking about before is how the second leg, like Madrid has the second leg for this fixture at the Bernabeu. Do you guys think with the new format, like the teams that are higher seeds going into it should get that second leg at home?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I feel like it gives some kind of advantage. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, like it's unfortunate that like Liverpool got PSG out of finishing top of the group, but I feel like you got to incentivize like the top of the table somehow.
Yeah,
That's-
unlucky Liverpool. Happens.
No, I think you're definitely right. There does need to be some rhyme and reason with the table, and this would probably be one of the easy things to implement. But like we all been saying, it's their first year with this new format, so that's probably the first thing that's going to get changed after this year.
Yeah. Did you guys like the format better though?
I was a fan, but I wasn't in it. I was a neutral. So
I'm going to reserve judgment just because with this format, they've added more games, and I think there's already
I'm not a fan of the more
congestion.
games. I'm not a fan of the more games. I agree with that, but I think in terms of the parity, I think, was a bit oversold almost in a sense of, oh, look at PSG and Man City. They're both not going to make it. Like, I never really thought that was going to happen. But I think just for the most part, 80% of the time you see a Champions League group, you see the teams that are going to go through, you see the teams that aren't. You'll get a group of death, which is fun, but for the most part, you already kind of know who's advancing, who's matching up against who. I liked that you couldn't really do that. And that I think earlier on, one of the complaints was you don't get your lick back. Like if you lose, you don't get to play the reverse fixture. But I think all things considered, it's a positive. But yeah, I think the addition of fixtures is not a good thing given where we're at right now.
Yeah, overall I liked it. Like that last day is like that like exciting thing that
Yeah,
they've
that was
never
fun.
had before. Like I'm sure the betting companies like love that new format, like all the parlays, but I don't know. I think that the one complaint I had for it, aside from the fixture congestion, is that like there isn't really as much of a punishment for dropping like 4 or 5 games in that run. Like
It's true.
it's not to say that like PSG, City, Madrid shouldn't have made it, but like when you get like when you only need like 2 or 3 wins to clinch that spot, like I don't know what they could do to change up the order, the amount of teams that qualify, but it's really like so little they get cut after like 8 games each for them playing. So if those spots don't really end up mattering, like we saw with the Liverpool PSG fixture, then like as long as you qualify, there's not that much to play for.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
they added a bunch of bullshit games to play. Like it's great for entertainment value, but like I don't know if it's good for the game. Like you're getting lower quality games. Like Champions League, every game used to be peak, you know? Every game everyone's dogging it out, group stages or not. Like you only have 6 games in the group stage, so you're gonna go fucking like you're gonna go after it. You're gonna try to get as many goals as you can. And now it's like you could take games off. And even if you don't, then at this point in the tournament, at this point of the year, like we're not watching like amazing football because everyone's beat up, everyone's tired. There's half the everyone's teams are fully injured. So you're not getting to see like great football anymore. Like that was reserved for the beginning of the season when you want it to be saved for the end of the season. Everyone's like, at this point where every game matters. So in that sense, I think it's bad for football as a whole, but like for entertainment value, it's great. I get to see like two Real Madrid games a week. Like,
I mean, there's that. There's like
really
your
good point.
teams that are in it are going to be playing like a diverse group of teams rather than just this 3 teams in the group stage twice. So being like, I feel like if we were local to our teams, this would be a lot more fun for us. Is one of the things.
Away
Like we'd
days.
be able to go to away days. We'd be able to experience that different cities that
Right.
maybe we've never been to before. Being an American fan, we don't get that as much.
You
So
just
we
wake
don't
up
get
early.
that positivity to it. But I do
I think, I
the
guess,
format,
a solution is just less teams, same format. Because that's what the
I don't
conference
know.
league is. I know I always end up bringing my team up, but like, we only
conference-
played
I-
6
like,
games.
not
So
even.
I'm just
to,
saying
like,
strictly in terms of format. Like, does France need 4 teams in the Champions League? Respectfully, I'm very grateful for our 5th spot that we're getting in the Prem, but does France need 4 teams? You know what I mean? I think a lot of these other
but
teams
I
that we're
don't
bringing,
think
I
those
just
are
think you
where
could.
the spots are going from, though. Like if they're gonna take
No, I know. I
spots
just
away,
wanted
it's
to
gonna
make
be
fun
from
of
the
their
lesser leagues, and then you get a super league that everyone fucking was against anyways. So
We'll just go back to however many teams were allowed in the year before. Is the way I'm looking at it, right?
I think it's different
It should-
because of the playoff games. That's
Yeah,
why
true,
they need the extra
true,
teams.
true. Yep. Then you cut
But
that
if you-
round out.
Yeah, I mean,
But then
you
there's
could
no
get rid of
money
the
to be
playoff.
made.
Exactly. The big old clusterfuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did we have
I
anything
wonder
else?
one thing I was thinking about, I feel like this isn't something that they'd ever consider, but for that little like middle playoff game, like the top 8 automatically qualify, the 16 in the middle go through. I wonder if that instead of being a 2-legged fixture was just a 1 game, like whoever's the higher seed plays at home, just 1 match. It puts a little bit more pressure on because like if you're a Madrid or a PSG or a City and you fall into that range, like even if you're playing like a Lille or like a team you'd expect to beat over 1 leg, like you're sweating it a
Anything can
little
happen.
bit that anything
Yeah.
can happen.
I like that. I for the teams that are involved, because baseball did something similar maybe 10, 15 years ago to where the wild card game was just a 1-game playoff. And I think that's a little more harsh in a sport where there's 162 regular season games and it all comes down to one. So when it's your team in it, it's definitely nerve wracking. But again, in terms of kind of the show and as entertainment value, a 1-game playoff, like those atmospheres would be nuts.
For
I mean,
sure.
I think those games
There's
would be
just
really
gonna
good.
be
It also
people
helps
saying
with
it's unfair.
fixture congestion. Oh, it's definitely unfair.
It's
But
not
that's
unfair.
life.
You had
Life's
all
unfair.
those games in the
Right.
fucking stage before
Qualify.
that. Not
Yeah,
being
it makes
like,
every
we had the
spot
playoff
a little bit
against
more
Real Madrid.
valuable.
Am I
It
gonna
makes
say
it
it's
mean
unfair?
more.
We both of our teams, Shadman and I's teams, played like shit in the group stages. Lost to teams that you shouldn't lose to, and then we end up playing each other in something that we've gotten accustomed to is a late Champions League run-in, and it's in the playoffs. So in that sense, to what you're saying, like I think it's fine if we have a 1 and out. Like if you
Yeah,
put your
'cause it's
team
more of a
in
punishment.
position, yeah, of getting that low and losing out and having the lesser favor in that situation, then like I don't think anyone could say it's unfair or like biased in any way. Like you put yourself in that position on the table.
Most definitely, I agree with that, and I think it also brings more stakes to the group stage. It makes those
Yeah,
games
definitely.
impactful, and hence the higher level in the games when you're watching. So,
But like
yeah, I think that's good. But
how many like yeah, to the fixture congestion point, Madrid had what 10 games before the knockout stage in the
Yeah.
Champions League? Like ridiculous.
It seemed like there were no
More
ups.
than
I
that.
can't. I just can't think of any off the top of my head. But in that playoff in the middle, it seemed like there were no upsets. Like every team that was meant to go through went through, and then it just felt like it dragged out the process of getting to the quarters in this round of 16 like normal.
I mean, yeah, yeah, I could see that.
But you have to have it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's just like it's just a part of the format.
because I mean, teams are still going to take games off because if it's a two-legged affair,
Dude, they need to remove the stupid UEFA Nations League.
Yeah, they should for
Yes.
sure get rid of the Nations
Yes.
League.
Started by getting rid of the absolutely worthless international games. Like
I mean,
I
I get the point.
Everyone loves international football.
No. We like it when there's a stakes
That's
to it.
what I'm getting to though.
Yeah.
When it's played for something, it's the most beautiful thing ever. But when you have a random UEFA Nations League that causes 3 or 4 injuries for no reason, like I don't know. I don't.
yeah, I
The
mean,
thing is,
especially when you see all the
they're not-
players that pull out of the international break too. I mean, it just proves the point that we're making, where it's like these games don't actually mean anything. Like, why are we putting this league title on it? Why are we giving them a trophy at the end? Like these games, it's not the Euros, it's not the World Cup, it's not the Copa America, it's not AFCON, it's not any of these. Like,
Are you
it doesn't
saying to
matter.
remove the title of the competition?
The
Because
whole
before
Well, just
tournament.
the Nations League are friendlies. They're
hold on.
glorified friendlies.
Yeah, they're friendlies,
I mean?
correct. But
Yeah.
I don't think there's a world in which they take away international friendlies. They need those games to get the team flowing, to get tactics and all that. They only meet a couple times a year before tournaments.
I do
So-
think making it a tournament format increases the intensity in a way that's more likely to cause injuries. Like they're taking it more
Okay.
seriously now than they would have before, for sure.
But for what?
Yeah. For
This
Nations
is
League
the
for
thing
what?
with the Nations League. I don't understand is like there's not really a big incentive of winning it or even going far in it.
Is there
So,
not?
I mean,
like,
it's just
I
the
think
hype
the
that you
winner
buy
gets
into it. Like
like
I feel
a
like
Euro spot or a Copa America, whatever it is. It's UEFA, so it'd be Europa. But
Euros.
No, it's World Cup.
Euros. Oh, it is a
It's
World Cup spot?
Yeah, and then prize money and shit.
Okay, so
But
Italy
if
have an
it's-
incentive.
Yeah.
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 R.I.P. Calafiore.
Well, they got to get that World Cup spot secured.
Do you guys feel the same way about the Club World Cup? Like they're trying to add importance to
I think
that
it's a
this year?
massive competition, actually.
I
No, it's
think
fully a money
with-
grab. Yeah, it's a money grab.
Like I'd agree with you if the sport wasn't growing so much in the US.
No, I like that. I
There's a-
like
there's
the
a
concept
reason
of the
behind what-
competition. I
Dude,
like
it's-
seeing more games, but they're just killing these players. Like they're having an extra transfer window for the Club World Cup.
The US can grow this sport, but not at the fucking not at the cost of like half of these players having to play like fucking like 80 games, 90 games a season. Like what?
I mean, they were gonna come here and play anyways.
That is true.
Dude, it's just like if
They
I
come here
think
every year.
it's like, you come here and play one game, that's fine, that's great. And also in those games, you and I both, I've been to so many of those games. The big players will play for 30 minutes,
Yeah,
maybe
that's
if you're
correct.
lucky,
Yeah.
they'll play for a half, and then even then they're not doing shit. Like the amount of times I went to those games to see the best player at whatever team it was walk around for 45 minutes and then get subbed off, like yeah,
I
great.
saw Timo Werner's last Chelsea goal in Las Vegas. So I mean, speak for yourself. But no, I mean you're not wrong.
Like,
He's-
yeah, no, I
they're-
think you're right, Shad, but I do see why they're doing it. Because
I just
some of
think
these
the
people, I
way
think a lot of it's contradictory, though, in a
I think
sense,
just
because
the way we
yeah,
go for it. Sorry.
um,
Use it.
there's teams like there's people that aren't able to go and see their favorite teams or their favorite players, so they want to give us the opportunity to let us see them and have it mean something. But to Shad's point, they're being overexerted, and then also the contradictory stuff is that no one can fucking get in the door.
Very expensive.
Very
And that kind of
expensive.
goes
I'm better
to
off going to Europe to go and fucking watch this game instead for fucking
Mm.
25 pounds.
But yeah,
Like,
the point that was
or
kind of where I
UK.
was going with it. Where no matter the way we look at sports in America, we kind of commercialize everything. Versus in Europe, it's a lot more based in kind of what sports is meant to be. You know, the passion, the community, the fandom, all that stuff. In America, it's all about money and advertising. Where can we get logos? Where can we bring in more revenue? So the way that the product will be here versus how the authentic product I would imagine is over there, I just think it's two different things. It's not the same product versus when the NFL puts a game at Tottenham Stadium. That's the same thing. Versus if them putting a competitive game, Chelsea versus Club America,
There would be
it's not going to be
riots.
what. Yeah, if it were in
they tried to
Mexico,
do
if
a
it were in
regular
England,
season Prem
yeah,
game in the US, like that's almost the direction they're moving
No,
in
that
with
was
like
Super
all the
League.
preseason tours. But that would, I don't know. The most I think they could
You
get away
can't.
with is like a Carabao Cup game, like
No, you can't do
one
that.
early round
Oh
game.
no. Well, they do it the leagues. They do it in
you
La
just have
Liga.
to count that like to have that culture, you have to build that culture, right?
Oh, absolutely agreed.
And we have to like also as just a fan base, America has to grow. And once they have the appreciation and love for this like the game and the sport, then it'll start to catch up. But it's not gonna catch up that quickly. Like
You
it's
can't
gonna
force the process.
take, like for a while, yeah, it's gonna be a shit show.
This
Yeah.
reminds me when people used to talk about like what's a realistic time frame for the US to win the World Cup. And like I feel like I'd hear
Whenever they
MLS
sack
more
home.
MLS based fans say stuff
It's
like,
not
oh,
the
like
issue.
they'd say like, oh, like 16 years, like 10 years, like whatever. I don't think it's in our lifetime. Like I don't think any of us are seeing a North American team, let alone the US, win the World Cup. Like there's just so little opportunities that I feel like we're literally like hundreds of years away from that even being a possibility. Even with like the athletic talent that the US has, like I don't think the culture's there.
I think it's a
It's
generation
a culture
away.
thing. Yeah.
I think it's a generation away.
It's
I look
so
at it in a
hard.
similar way. I think it's
It's
bigger
very
picture than what they did, but just the example I'm using is at City where Pep went in. The players that they're coming out of their academy right now are not the same type of players that were coming out of their academy 10 years ago. Pep plays a part in putting that infrastructure in, and at a young age, this is how these kids are going to play. Tiki-taka, all that good stuff, and bam, they're starting to sprout out. I think it takes longer with the national team, but that can get instilled, and I think this World Cup's an important part in that. I think Messi coming over plays a big part in kids being interested in soccer, but I think it's a generational thing where the next gen of kids right now, if they are interested, maybe their kids are interested, and that's where you can really get it. But I don't think it's in the next few decades. I think it takes a little more than that.
I think like it could totally just it could happen within the next like 24 to like
Well, we'd have to recruit a lot more guys
Not
to
with
come
the,
be American.
One thing that people talk about a lot whenever this comes up is how like there's a lot more of like a financial burden in the US to like get into these academies at younger ages and like
grassroots,
support the
yeah.
travel. Whereas like in Europe, if they see the like the promise in the young players, like a lot of them will like have that process funded. And I think more than just that, one thing about those academies being like centralized in areas like in England, for example, like London, Manchester, like Liverpool, like I think the fact that you have all of those kids that are talented at those young ages playing against each other in the same areas, I feel like that makes them better as they get older. Whereas like the US, like it's so spread out that like there's probably hubs that like I'm sure like California produces more than like most of the rest of the states, but like it's so spread out that I feel like you're not getting that like competitive nature in those like
Definitely.
U4, U5, U6 levels that you would be like in Europe, like where
England's
it's
the
like
size of
everybody's
California.
playing.
I mean, yeah, like
It's
it's like
size
you're
of
saying,
California.
our grassroots football is terrible. You have to pay a shit ton of money
Pay to
just to
win.
get in the door, and then
Pay to
that's
win, yeah.
not even you playing on the team. Some of these people sit on the bench and pay thousands of dollars every year to just sit on the bench of a club team. So yeah, that doesn't help us. I do think one of the issues with the US as a national team though is that no one fucking wants it. All of these guys are content with being the big US star across the pond, and nobody fucking wants to go win anything, and that's the big problem that we're having right now. So to Grant's point of it's going to take, all of your guys' points, it's going to take a while to fucking get there because we have to, one, the culture, the mentality, and then like you were saying, Brendan, with the grassroots, that goes back into our commercialization of everything and trying to make money, a profit out of everything. That's not going away anytime soon. So I'm kind of leaning more towards Brendan, like we won't see it in our lifetime type of thing, unless we see like drastic changes to the culture and just the way the sport is run in the whole country.
That's crazy.
In our lifetime, I think the max we see is a semifinal run. I don't see anything more than that. Like if you think about even like Croatia's runs in the past World Cups, like even as like they're considered as the underdogs, like the squads they have are still so good. Like the US is not producing any players like Modric,
Yes.
like anyone in that team. Like I just
you're
feel
right.
like we're not touching that.
There could be a player in the next generation. There's like
Kevin Sullivan.
there's like so
Correct,
many generations of players that
City signed a 14-year-old American.
that like could just turn into absolute monsters. They could be the next Modric. Like I agree with you guys. The grassroots is so, but like the fact that you're saying like, oh, I don't think we'll see it in our lifetime. I feel like that's a crazy take.
But
I mean,
what
I
if
don't
that
think it's
kid,
like
like I
the
agree with what you're
potential isn't
saying.
there. I think it's like all of those other reasons of like the
It's
grassroots not
foundational
being
stuff.
there, the levels not being there in the academies. I think that like that's not something that will change in like one generation, 2 generations. Like I think that takes like a lot more time, especially for
Odds
like
are stacked against us on that front.
But then, like what Grant said, there's Man City just signed what a 15-year-old American,
14-year-old. Yeah,
14-year-old. A few teams do that now. You have 5 like studs potentially. You don't. They
Right.
might be
Who
shit.
knows? Who knows?
But like potentially, you have 5 ballers. In 10 years, that turns into 10 ballers. In 15 years, now you have 20 ballers that are coming up in Europe, like Europe's academies, where like
And they're
really
inspiring the next
it's
generation.
American.
I
mean,
agree with that.
Change. What I'm getting to, I'm not saying it's going to happen in the next 30
No,
years.
of course, yeah.
It can, is what you're saying.
It could change within like 10 years. Like
Definitely,
drastic.
yeah.
Well, this World Cup, I think, plays a big part. The
I just
26th
also
World
think
Cup,
that like we could have the next Messi, Ronaldo just like chilling somewhere in the
talking to
United
him.
States,
Playing.
but
You're
they
fucking talking
can't
to
fucking
him.
afford to be on the team. And in Europe, that kid would fucking be on a team regardless. It wouldn't fucking matter how much money he makes.
ARSE
Obviously,
paid
there's
for Messi's
sponsorships and
hormones
stuff
to
like
bring
that
him in.
around us, but we're a big country, and there's definitely kids out there that aren't even getting looked at
Absolutely.
that could be at that level, and we're never going to
Even
see that.
with Messi, like you wonder, like say like he never got like scouted by Barcelona and brought to La Masia at that young of an age. Like obviously he's still gonna be this like freak of nature that's like super gifted, but like is he gonna develop at that same rate without being around the other best players in his age group? Like
Hard
I
to
feel like
say.
that's like where the
Really
US
hard
is
to say.
lacking a lot.
And I think we also, even like you just said with Messi, it took a lot of stars to align for his journey to be what it was, all that stuff, regardless of how talented he was. I'm sure there was players with similar levels of talent that just never even got that opportunity. So even not in America, that happens where a lot of players have tons of talent and it just gets wasted. But I think, again, to Brendan's point of just kind of the infrastructure of where we're at as a country with this sport, the odds are not stacked in our favor in terms of finding the best talents, developing them. Like, I don't think we have any of those processes in place. But to Shadman's point, I think anything can happen, especially in the sport. I mean, I think a big part is what do the young generation have to look up to? And I think obviously next year's World Cup plays a part, but to Shadman's point, any of those kids going over to Europe and making a name for themselves, the kids will see that. Oh, I want to be like that. And that's how it starts. And then from there, it can absolutely go AWOL. I mean, we have such a large population. We have the facilities. We have the athletes. Like, it can happen. But it's just in terms of, will that infrastructure be put in place to kind of speed up the process?
All right.
Good little USA footy talk.
Yeah, a little off track, but we're all good. Do you guys want to stay for Premier League talk?
I have to dip, but
Okay,
also
that's fine. Totally fine.
I'm gonna dip because I haven't been watching the Prem for the past 2 weeks. It's been the Arsenal games have been with it.
Understandable.
Okay. Brendan, it says it's still uploading for you, but I think. Wait, can I pause it? All right, quick little pause. Shadman and Brendan are gone. And now we get into the Premier League chat. Grant's going to start us off with Chelsea. Talk a little bit about the game prior to this last match week, and then go into match week 31 as well. And then I will talk about City's win at Leicester and the United Derby, the Manchester Derby. I'll guess I'll have to talk about United for Dylan also. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. Grant, take it away.
Yeah. All right. That's gonna be that's tough to jump on. But yeah, I think the Tottenham win, I kind of talked about it going into it. I expect 3 points against Tottenham, which we got. 1-0. I felt like we could have had more in that game, all things considered. Caicedo robbed of another screamer against Tottenham. That sucks. But again, you take care of business against a rival at home. Jackson being back, I mean, we saw it the first 2 minutes of that game where that ball over the top and then Tottenham had a chance at the other end. But Jackson just being in the lineup alone, just him being there, stretches that defense so much more than when Nkunku's up top or even Neto. Once the chances start to get bagged like they were at the beginning of the season, I think we're in a better place. Problem is the season's about to be over, so we don't have any time to kind of get back into that. We need it now. Like I was saying last episode, we unfortunately are relying on Jackson and his output right away. But stretching the defense, giving guys like Fernandez, Palmer, just way more space to operate and really pull strings. Palmer got the assist for Enzo. But yeah, we just look a much better side. Really happy to have him back. Caicedo, monster game that against Tottenham. Sanchez made a good save at the end, but still no gas from me. I think it was a good, solid performance, but nothing out of this world. Well done. So got business taken care of. And then I told Mila before we started recording, I woke up at 5 a.m. before the Brentford game, so I immediately saw our lineup. And yeah, points dropped. I knew it was going to – I wish I could have went back to sleep, mate. I knew points were going to get dropped. And Nkunku, I've always had belief in him as a player. Definitely not as a striker, but just in terms of ability. I'm like, there's something there. Man, I'd rather have
his
Timo
head's
up
gone.
top. I'd rather have Timo over. And I don't blame him.
I totally hear you with that, but it just from his body language and the way he acts off the pitch
doesn't care
towards your club, he doesn't give a flying fuck anymore. I think he's over it. He's been a little mistreated in a sense, but it's just
I don't
what
think
happens
mistreated,
when you
just super unfortunate. He signed with us. It was January.
That's true. He also
agreed
got
to come in
hurt
the summer,
pre-injury.
right?
Yeah,
exactly. And then Palmer ends up being Palmer. So that was going to be his spot. And we brought him in where we were in 12th, but it was hey, you're just going to be the guy in this team. That's what he signed up for. By the time he's fit, Cole Palmer's the best 10 in the league. That's unfortunate circumstances for him, but he never did anything to prove otherwise, in my opinion.
No,
last year, all things considered, last year, unfortunate. I'll give him a write-off on the whole year. This year, he's gotten a run of games. Whether or not it was in his best position, he hasn't showed anything. Even if performances wasn't there, if he just showed something, he hasn't shown anything.
Okay, playing the false nine, though, you guys are expecting him to score goals, which isn't really
I expect him to do something. He doesn't do anything.
I get that.
There were a few,
we've also been
times
about the output of their wingers. So do you think if you had more effective wingers in terms of goals?
Well, Madueke is our only goal-scoring winger. He's our only
I
goal
know,
scoring winger,
and he's still
right?
not
And
that
he just got
much of a
back
goal
from
scorer.
fitness.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
that
been
too.
out, but do
Yeah,
you think Nkunku would be more effective with, if let's say he was playing with that City front three from a couple years back
yeah,
of
yeah.
Sonny,
Output on
Sterling,
both
and
sides,
Aguero?
right?
Exactly. Take out
Right.
Aguero in
No,
that. If you put Nkunku there, do you think he thrives with output
I think a
wingers?
lot of guys thrive in that situation,
That's
particularly.
fair.
But yes, I think this setup does not bring out the best in his game. That I will give you. But um, there were multiple times in this game, and you guys know me. I'm not the biggest fan of Robert Sanchez. There were multiple times in this game where he just played a ball that looked like it just went straight to Nathan Collins on the ground, like just has the ball, no one pressing him, and he just passes it right to the other team. He's playing it to Nkunku, who's getting outpaced by Nathan
Mhm.
Collins, coming short to receive the ball. And then there was another play where Enzo gave the ball away, and he's pissed off at Nkunku for not coming short because he happens to make the one run he never makes in behind. So it's just things like that. It's done. I think there's no point of
Definitely.
return. It's time.
I mean, if Palmer's in your main spot and
Yeah,
all
there's
this talk,
nothing for
even
you.
with
There's nothing
Jackson,
for
as
you.
effective as he is for you guys, there still needs to be a
There's
step
nothing
up
for
in
you.
that position.
And even
If
out of
Jackson's going to
possession,
get benched, yeah, like Nkunku
even out
has
of possession,
no.
Jackson can do nothing in possession. I'm not even going to talk about all the hold up play he had against Brentford. He had one where he chested it down, the flick over. He looked good in that sense. But even out of possession, like the pressing, the intensity, like we win a lot of balls back in their third because of Nicholas Jackson, because of the pressure he brings. He will press until he's out of the game. But I saw a lot of criticism come the manager's way after this game. That at first, again, I was very upset with seeing this lineup, but as a team that struggled with injuries all of last season, we're just starting to get some guys back from fitness. Who's to say that Palmer's is not a risk if he plays 90 minutes, or Jackson, who just came back, Madueke, who just came back? Of
Not to
course, he's not
mention
going to be
he
able to give you
played
90
in the game
minutes.
before that.
Right. So I think that outrage is a bit much for me. I totally understand the frustration of not seeing Palmer and Jackson out there.
Yeah.
But we have to understand, like, Lavia didn't play all of last season because of this. We rushed him back and he got hurt. Do not rush these guys back. I want to make top 5 in Champions League as much as any fan. But if these guys are a risk, and again, guys that, and I'm not even talking about Reece James, who I'm happy to still see fit, probably because he's being managed.
Mhm.
Would you agree? I think he's been fit 17, 18 games now where he has
It's
been
so hard to
available.
say with him.
I
It's
think
like
Reece, absolutely, I agree. But
it's
my
such a
whole
weird
thing is
situation.
the reason
Yeah,
I bring that
in
up
general,
is a lot of our fans are upset he's not bombing up and down the wings like he used to.
can't do it
He
anymore.
played exactly. He played as a left center back at left back and Gusto inverted. I thought Reece did all right there. Again, he's a player who, if fitness wasn't a thing, he could play anywhere and do any job for me. But we have to understand these guys are being managed, and if he's still fit, Reece, I'm going to trust him with this management here. I thought in terms of the patterns of play in this Brentford game, we looked a lot more positive than we have in this past few months, where it's just been dry. The home fans are booing us for playing the ball backwards. I think the patterns of play looked really positive in this Brentford game. And when Jackson came on in the second half, I thought that first 10, 15 minutes, a goal was coming, to be honest. But we just looked a lot better in terms of our general play and chance creation. I thought it was very positive. Sancho, you got me, Dylan. I think he's a very talented player still. That I will not rescind, but I never think that was the argument. That was never the argument. It was about what's he going to do. And the amount of times in this Brentford game where he had an opportunity and just didn't do anything, it was tough. You can hear the
I mean,
away fans screaming, shoot.
that's been
You
the
can hear it.
argument from Dylan the entire
Of
time.
course.
Is that
Of
it's
course.
just he's reserved in the way he plays, and
And I
it
think it would
doesn't
work
show
great
what he
if you
has.
have killers around you. If you got absolute killers, right? You don't have that. You got to do something here. And it's an unfortunate situation. I think personality-wise, he fits in with all the guys. They're similar age. I think they're friends. But yeah, I unfortunately don't see him staying. I think they exercise that £5 million penalty, or they probably buy him and try to sell him. It's a shame, but I mean, it kind of goes back to the big overarching discussion we always have, or sporting directors approach. We don't need to do all that. I just think more in terms of, yeah, it was a 0-0 and it was a pretty boring watch, all things considered. But I actually do have a bit of optimism here going forward, seeing a lot of the crucial guys back. And again, I didn't mention Fofana being out for the year, getting hamstring surgery. We could talk about that another time. But
This was
Jackson. Yeah, go for it.
This was a Brentford away game. Like you went
Mhm.
home to
Yeah, we were at the
Millwall's
G-Tech.
perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Brentford have
It's
been
a team
one of
we
the
always
best
struggle with.
away teams in the league all season.
No. At home, they haven't won a home game in 3 months.
That's what I'm saying. So
They're
you
at
guys were
home.
away. Sorry.
Yeah,
I
we were
thought-
away.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't won an away game in 2025 in the Prem.
There you go.
But what last thing I'll really say, because I'm starting to get a little all over the place with this one, but I got to bring it back to the manager just because I'm starting to see more revisionism, and I got to just let the facts be known. He has already tallied Poch's away wins in the Prem without a win in 3 months away from home. So to all the fans, and again, I'm very adamant that our fan base is a big reason why we have these uprisings and just chaos, and it's all self-inflicted. I'm totally aware and understanding of people being critical of the manager. I think it's totally valid. To say that the manager last year was better is absurd. I don't know why it always has to go there, but I don't see why we can't just move forward, understand we have someone better that still has some flaws, and we can move forward with this group. I don't get what it is. As soon as the results drop, Mila, everything was perfect. And as soon as results dropped, to get him gone. And I think these fans, I mean, they already boo anytime we play backwards, which, hey, a lot of teams play it backwards. I don't know. That really frustrates me, the fan base and kind of their thoughts on the manager. It blows my mind. This is kind of what we've been asking for years in this fan base. And this we've been in this purgatory. It's like, how do we get back? Get someone who understands the strengths of the players in this squad. And I think for the most part, in terms of the important players that I see moving forward, Palmer, check. Jackson, check. Enzo, check. Caicedo, check. Reese, check. I don't see what the problem is. I can't believe that we're even talking about getting rid of this guy. I think it's absurd.
I think it's just the context of where you are. Like, obviously, everyone in your club wants you guys to have higher than a Conference League football.
Most definitely.
But
I think last year's team deserves to be in Conference League.
Oh, I totally agree. But I think from your fan base point of view, like, it's all just reactionary. And the easiest way to compare the new manager is to talk about the guy that you sacked to get this guy. So that's where the Poch stuff comes in.
Easy.
I can't believe that most of these people would think that Poch was a better option for the club.
How? I genuinely don't know how.
It could have been anyone, though. It could have been Ten Hag at Chelsea before Maresca. Same result as Poch last year, and they would have said that
they just want to see the ball booted up. They don't want, like, we'll boot it up. Like, I think I didn't mention it about the Tottenham game, but when we played that ball over the top right away, it was a different approach. We approached that game differently than we did other games because everyone knows how Tottenham like to play. And when you have Jackson up top, that's a threat in behind. So we changed the approach against this team. So again, the manager understands these things. He understands these concepts that we were begging for years for Potter to see, for Poch to see in this just whole sort of rebuild. I think we have it. I don't see a question. But you know,
I just think you're a little more invested into the long-term outcome of this manager.
I see the vision. I
understand that. I think a lot of your guys' fans, though, are kind of just living in the moment type of thing.
Just want it to happen.
And they want it to be done already. And that's not how footy works.
You see the past few years?
Strides over years. You look at any team that's come out of a slump
and this is the extreme example.
Became good. Like, it doesn't happen overnight.
This is the extreme example of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a frustrating one.
Look at a Newcastle, for instance. Like, everyone probably thought that they were going to be there, and then they've had some setbacks, and they're not where they should be, as we predicted, but they're definitely still building, and there's more to come. And if you show a little patience, you'll get the payoff with something like a Carabao Cup.
Absolutely, and I think our next Prem game is Ipswich at home. I mean, I don't even need to speak on that. That needs to be 3 points.
Delap will score, and you guys will get the 3 points.
Shit, I don't care. As long as we get the points, I really don't care anymore. At this point of the season, business end, get the job done. Then we got Fulham away. That's a derby. That's a serious game. I still think this team's more than capable of winning it, but that's going to be challenging. And then you got Everton at home, which again, that should be business taken care of. And then you got Liverpool, Newcastle, United, Forest.
Don't worry about Liverpool. I said it last pod.
They're probably
Fulham
chilling,
just
and we're
fucking
at
did
home.
that. Like, I don't think they give.
Oh, I'm not worried, but I'm just
this
saying
season anymore.
Ipswich, Fulham, Everton as your next 3. Given where the table's at, because I'm sure we can get into it in a second with City, because I don't have too much else on Chelsea bars. That needs to be 9 points. You got to beat Ipswich, you got to beat Fulham, you got to beat Everton. Considering those last 4 games you have.
Fulham at Craven Cottage or Fulham at
Craven Cottage.
That's gonna be tough.
And that's where Mudryk scored his first goal. I'd love to have him back, but
Well, you don't have him.
Breaks my heart every time, Mila. But yeah,
out of those 3
I
games, though, I think that'll be the hardest in my opinion because they're also
for sure.
a European spot. If they get a chance,
and that's away.
The other League or Europa, they'll be happy.
Oh, absolutely. Anything in Europe is big time for them. That would be a huge accomplishment. But yeah, I think given that the table now, I mean, Newcastle still have a game to play. They can leapfrog us easily just by drawing. They come over us. City are out. If it ended today, City are in Europa League. Like that, Villa are a point off them. Right. Anything can happen, but I mean, Fulham are 3 points off that, off of Villa at 7th. I mean, Fulham, Brighton, Bournemouth. I mean, you and Dylan got it right about Bournemouth. Their form fell off a cliff. Brighton dropped 2 straight. I don't see them. They've never been consistent enough. On the day, they can beat anybody, but
it's around
over
this
the course of 38 games.
Collapse.
Yeah, I don't think they're top 5 caliber. Fulham are that last team kind of hanging in, but it's kind of coming down to Chelsea, Newcastle, City, Villa.
I mean, hey, that Fulham win
those last 2 spots.
Liverpool is huge.
Absolutely, they're only 3
that's
points.
3
off
points
Villa.
that we did not. I mean, maybe I did.
Fulham are 5 points off that top 5 spot. They're 5 points.
There you go.
But again, all these teams are playing each other. It's going to be a bloodbath, so they're still in it.
We're the only one that doesn't really have that little.
Oh, but you got Palace, known bogey team.
Yeah, I know. We could talk about that in a sec.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I've got nothing else on Chelsea other than that top 5. That's what matters. Obviously, Conference League. I'm not going to fucking talk about the Conference League. They should win that competition. Even though Betis and Fiorentina, that's tough, but you should still beat them. I think more importantly, Chelsea, Newcastle, Villa, City, 2 of those teams are not going to make it into Europe.
And it's going to have drastic implications on their squad.
Absolutely.
Any one of those 4 teams. Because if Villa and Newcastle don't make it, like we're not gonna
what Enzo Fernandez, if Real Madrid comes in and says, hey, we heard Shadman on a Clash of Clubs talking about we need a Cruz replacement. We think Enzo might do that. We're not in the Champions League for a 3rd year in a row. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he leave?
I think it's going to be harder to keep players for us if we don't make it in.
Mm-hmm.
Harder to get players for us if we don't make it in. But for teams like Newcastle and Villa, if they don't make it into that Champions League spot, either one of them or both of them, not even that, they're definitely losing their best player, if not one of their best players.
Isak goes to a different team.
Isak's gone if they don't make Champions League. I think
Villa can't keep any of their loanees. I'm not even thinking about anyone there permanently, but I'm sure they have ambitions to. I think they want to keep Rashford. I think at this rate, they'd love to keep Asensio. They're not going to be able to if they don't make Champions League.
Yeah,
Rashford maybe, but Asensio, he's probably earned any Champions League move he really wants at this point.
We'll see.
I mean, he was at Real Madrid. There's a lot of good players there. PSG, same deal. It's the first time where it's like, yeah, you could play like consistently. We'll give you minutes. So yeah, I think this whole top 5 race is the only thing keeping the league exciting, but it's definitely exciting. So over to you. On to the other 0-0 that I woke up at 5.
On to not exciting. Hey, we're talking about a 2-0 win before that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the only reason I say that is because I woke up at 5 a.m. on Sunday to watch 180 minutes without a goal.
The 2-0 win against Leicester was fucking boring.
Yeah.
But, and I've heard a lot of other people talk about it, we needed a boring game. Needed one really badly. Just get the fucking points out there. Grealish got his early goal. Really nice. Marmoush got a little goal. Very nice. Big standouts in that game. O'Reilly getting his first Prem start for me was huge.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like he's a staple.
Definitely easier to rotate against one of the bad 3.
I mean, he got the start over the weekend too.
It's a Premier League start.
It's a Premier League start.
To your point, started
He's
again.
a young kid.
He's a good player.
He then got like 60 something minutes, 70 minutes the next game. We played with
Yeah.
wingers against Leicester though. So past 3 games, Pep has decided to alternate between a central heavy lineup versus a winger
Yeah,
heavy
I was
lineup.
gonna ask about that because obviously with the winger lineup, I always think back to the game you guys played us, where those wing backs are the width, and then your wingers are tucking in. All 3 of the midfielders are kind of back. I understand the concept, but again,
I
you
do
need
too.
both of those wing backs to be on it. 9 out of 10,
Yeah.
8 out of 10 performance just to really compete in a game like
It's
that, especially with
asking
the engine room
for
being, the unks, as we
it's
like to call
asking a
them.
lot out of O'Reilly and Nunes, who are both fairly new at these positions.
Right, they're
Nunes
not even
was
wing backs
they're both
naturally.
attacking mids.
They're midfield players.
Like what I I don't know. They're both doing a really great job in the past couple games that they've played in the positions. O'Reilly's been
That Pep quote on Nunes is
huge
just
change.
so disrespectful.
It's diabolical. Like
Especially because I
he's
saw someone quote it with his quote from
complimenting
a few
him.
years ago. Remember, it was like, "Oh, he's
Yeah,
one of the best players in the world." It's like, "Oh, this guy."
he could be one of the best players in the world technically, but if he
I signed him
doesn't
in a career mode.
have,
He was pretty good.
yeah, he is good. He played really well over the weekend, but
I mean, he's clearly got
um,
he's in him, but yeah, in terms of
yeah,
what Pep's asking for in a central midfielder, I do not
no,
think he would cut it either.
no, he doesn't. And Pep's just being brutally honest at that point. I think he started it out with, hey, this guy's a really good player and he can make a really good right back with some work, but he
See,
cannot play central.
I'm looking at the Leicester lineup right now. Obviously, the
There was nothing.
Doku,
They had nothing
Savino,
going forward.
or Watt. No, not Leicester. I meant like how you guys set up.
Yeah.
So Doku and Savino are holding the width. Is Nunes overlapping Savino? So you have like just an overload on that side, and then O'Reilly on the other side too. So you got 6 guys. Because they're playing a back 5, so you got 6 guys in that forward line. Was anyone like inverting with Nico Gonzalez, or was he pushing up? Like I see Nico and Gundo in the pivot.
Gunzo and Nico kind of held and didn't. Gundo's been playing better lately though, and moving the ball
like
forward.
2-2-6 almost.
Kind of. It's a 4-3-3 with the
fluid.
occasional it was the occasional overlap from the fullbacks, not both going at the same time necessarily, because that just exposes us.
With Leicester.
Yeah, O'Reilly's pressure, physicality is huge.
He's a player, man, and I know I always joke about it, but
O'Reilly did not.
If we targeted him, he's got to be decent, right? Joe Shields, especially. He's one of our scouts.
Joe Shields, I've seen him too.
Yeah, we took him from you guys. Thank
You're
you, Joe Shields. You saved my club.
I don't really have much more to say about that game. It was boring.
The Leicester game. I have even less to say about the United game. I actually thought United were the better side, all things.
I have more to talk about.
Neither team did much. Neither team did much to really deserve the win, in my opinion.
For that.
No,
at all.
But I think United would you say United were the better side in that game? I don't think either side were particularly good.
By far the better side. And if they had the shooting boots on, they would have won that game comfortably.
I thought so too.
But to my best player on the day was Ruben Diaz, at least for City.
He had to be.
He was phenomenal.
Vardiol did a good job again. I think credit deserved to a guy playing out of position nowadays. He's not a center.
He's not out of position. He's not out of.
But you know what I mean? A position he's not as comfortable in.
He's more comfortable.
I don't even know if that's the right way to put it.
I was thinking the exact same way you were thinking.
Not as familiar with it.
A couple days ago, until he came out and went. I am basically paraphrasing, but he said, "I'm more comfortable at center back. The left back, there's a lot of mistakes that can happen and a lot of more physical strain, and he's not really comfortable with that." The issues that he had at center back to me were that he wasn't strong in the air, and he wasn't really like a wall. He was like a piece of paper back there at some points. People could just run right through him. He looked strong in this game. And that pairing with Diaz and Gvardiol.
Gvardiol's the clean one versus Diaz. Get dirty, make the dirty tackles, all that good stuff.
But it's only been a couple games that they've done this.
I mean, Vardiol's clearly a talented player. He's a top player.
Oh, of course. I would hope that
my whole point, he's been playing left back, I'd say 90% of his games for City. It's like, hey, it's a big game. We're gonna need you to go back to center back and remember how to do all that, put in a good shift. I think to your point, you've always talked about this Man City midfield, especially this exact iteration of it. Casemiro looked really good. And
Yep.
for a guy who I don't think he's as washed as he's made out to be, but he's definitely past it. He's not in his prime anymore. He looked like he was in his prime on Sunday. And that just goes to show his legs are gone too, but they're not that gone. I think last year he was just being asked to do a Conte level job in terms of ground that needed to be covered.
Yeah,
in that
he
Ten
was
Hag
asked
system.
too much of him.
I think Caicedo would have looked like shit. You know what I mean? Like I think there was just too much to be done.
With
Casemiro still
Casemiro,
got
it's
quality. He's
a
still
lack
got
of
quality.
focus sometimes. His passes go a little wayward.
Oh yeah.
And but for what
But
you
just physically, he
really
looked
need
fine.
out of him, 60 minutes
fine.
of physical.
He played 90.
Battling. I know he played 90, but I think he could have an impact on that team if he just was a 60-minute a game type of guy.
I kind of
we
like
played a
City's
4-4-2
approach on paper. Like I'm looking at the setup.
4-2, a 4-1-2-1-2. You want to?
Yeah, we're like De Bruyne, Foden, Marmoush kind of.
Terrible.
I like the idea of it. But yeah, again, I don't think they have the personnel that was put out for it. Yeah, no. So go into it a little more. What didn't you like about it?
Dude, first off, that midfield should never be a thing ever fucking again. All those guys are over 30. I saw the Bernardo quote about like what the fuck are we talking about as fans? Like we just don't know any footy. Brother, play better then. Because I've seen what he can do and I've seen what he's capable of, and the only reason that I can think that he's dropped off a bit is the lack of legs.
Right.
If there's some mental stuff going on and that hasn't come out, then I'll take it on the chin for that, whatever.
Right.
But to me, watching him play, it's a lack of legs or a lack of burst because he's running all game, the whole game. Every time. And he actually played pretty well against United. But what does that mean?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
Like we had a 0-0 where we had. Did we have a shot on target?
Let me peep. But yeah, De Bruyne didn't have his best showing. Whether or not, I don't think Pep's a sentimental man, but he got the start for his last Manchester derby. Not his best. But
we
again,
apparently had 5 on target, but I don't remember seeing those.
Yeah, it never really felt like City were a big threat in this game.
No, I do remember them. They were all half-ass shots from outside the box.
The biggest chance was that Garnacho miss, and I know Dylan was talking about like, oh man, like I expected at this point, and I get that. I have been there. It wasn't too long ago, but dude, like, how did he not score that? How did he like that? Literally just put your foot
all season. He gets in the right spot.
He went down with his head.
I know. He's just not.
Hoyland was awful.
Awful. Xerxes almost got a goal.
I think Xerxes' quality. I mean, we were talking about before we started recording. Is the future at Man United? Probably not. No. But in terms of quality, like I think there's no question. Like he's got infinite more ability than Hoyland does. Hoyland, I mean, I saw something about Leeds wanting him if they come up. Like it's your best bet. Throw a sell-on clause on him because he's still very young. He can absolutely come good. This is a lot of pressure to ask a young player who scored like 8 or 9 goals in Italy. Like, hey, come do this at Man United. Like, that's a tough ask. I'm sure the mental strain on him is far beyond what I can even comprehend. Kind of what I say about Jackson and how he has to shoulder our load in terms of goal scoring. So does he. And I also don't think he didn't ask to be bought for 70, 80 million. Like, it's not on him.
Has that
pressure,
and they have to know that when they go there.
It's not. Absolutely. But point being, it's not going to work. I don't think he's the guy.
No. I don't think it will either.
Dorgu was a bit disappointing for me. That's probably the worst I've seen from him because I think he's still someone that's in their future plans. But there was that one where he came across and just you could tell he didn't want to hit it with his right foot.
Yep.
Onana I thought was decent. I thought he had a good game. Yeah, I don't really think Dallo didn't look like comically bad. Like in terms of like, decision making,
that's what I was about to talk about. Once you finish up, is the fact
that
you can fucking play a winger against Dallo. You put Savio or Doku against him, he's getting cooked. 9 out of 10 times.
Chicken. Yeah,
not a single winger out there.
Instead, he has to worry about O'Reilly. O'Reilly's the only width, and again, that's good. But O'Reilly's not a 1v1 winger to take someone on. Like that's not him at all.
Guy that's got his second Premier League start to fucking take on a 5-back and do something for us, that's ridiculous if that's the case. Like
he's a natural like 6 or an 8.
If you had a Doku or a Savio out there with an overlapping of O'Reilly, then we get chances from that side. On a
That
player
alone.
that's not been having a good game or a good
Yeah.
season in his wingback role.
Mhm.
Like, we know what he
Yeah.
can do as a
Well, yeah,
four-back.
especially in that
Positionally, he's not great.
in that
Why?
5-back system, you just drag him out wide, and that whole half space is there. That
Mhm.
whole half space, De Bruyne
Took
could roam
60
in,
minutes
Foden,
for
Marmoush,
Doku to
any
come
of them.
on.
Yeah,
60
that's
minutes for
disappointing.
Doku to come on. That's ridiculous. I would have put him in 15 minutes into the game.
Yeah, and again, I didn't mention Bruno, but Bruno was really good in that game. I think
He's just
Bruno's been
solid.
really
He
good
was
all year.
solid.
Yeah, they threw him into the pivot after 70 minutes, no problem. Yeah, he's
Couple nice
been really
balls
good.
behind.
I'm sure it was good for the Mount just to see him back fit. You could just hope that he stays healthy
Forgot
towards
to
the.
talk about something super important.
I was just with Mount. I was just gonna say tactically, everyone knows that he fits in this system. That's where he was at his best. You would hope for him to just be able to play the rest of the year and go into next season healthy.
Just
Because
waiting
I
to
still
do it.
think he can absolutely be of value to this team, of use to this team.
No, he definitely can. And he's
Yeah,
got
at this
talent.
point,
He's just
you just want to see him be able to be fit. If he's shit, he's shit.
Definitely.
If he bangs, he bangs. But it's not fair to the player to just see him out injured. And it's especially like similar to Reese's situation. Almost every time he comes back, there's just another setback. It's so heartbreaking. So yeah, hope that he's fit. So what did I remind you about, Mila?
Bob.
Was he on the
got
bench?
No, he wasn't on the bench, and that's why I want to bring it up. He got a 5-minute cameo against Leicester.
Nice.
Everyone standing ovation, everything. He's back. Welcome back. We missed you.
Not
Not
in the
even
squad.
on the bench against United. These are the games that our fucking academy guys live for. They want to play against United.
Right.
This is like what they've been fucking like emotionally trained for in a way, I guess. Like,
No,
if
I know
you've grown up
what you're
at the
getting
City
at.
Academy, this is your biggest rival,
Yeah.
hometown rival. Like, that's where
All
I
the
kind of
kids
want
are
to see these
United
guys play.
fans. Like, yeah, they got something to play for.
Exactly. Like, we want to see this game. I don't think he should have started or anything, but when we're taking
When you got nothing going forward,
Foden
yeah.
out. Yeah, we took
give it a
Foden
go.
out in the 60th to do Jack Grealish in to have
No,
some
Doku came in, and then Grealish came in the 74th for Gundogan.
Shit. Okay.
And then
we
Rico
brought
came
in
on
one
for
winger.
O'Reilly.
Anyways.
Yeah,
we
one
run
winger in the 60th minute.
and a 4-1-2.
And then another one in the 75th minute.
What are we doing, man? Like,
one last question. Kusanov, I thought he's been really good lately, but nothing here. Did he play against Leicester?
He didn't. He got a well-earned break against Leicester, and then
I feel like he was in the lineup almost every game for a short bit.
he was,
Just
and I
playing
think
3
that's why
games.
he's not playing right now. Is just because he's so young, and then Pep realized
he's what,
like
20?
we also have
21,
him running his ass off every game because he's just a recovery pace.
Right.
So
Go get him, kid.
Break. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. No.
What's the next game? That Palace 4 a.m.
Yeah, where do you see?
4:30?
Because obviously you guys are, as it stands, obviously, not in a Champions League spot. Palace, I know you're not excited about that matchup, but just kind of where are you at right now? Like, just where do you think you're gonna end up? How are you feeling about that?
I am back to optimism, and I'm hoping that we finish above Arsenal.
Oh, shooting above Arsenal, Mila. You got to get back in the top 5 first. You're not worried?
We'll be fine. I think we'll beat Palace.
That's not a concern for you? Not even just the Palace game, but you're not concerned about dropping out. Oh, I'm looking at the end of your season. Yeah,
no, not really anymore. You guys sucked it out of me.
Wolves and Southampton. Yeah, like just that alone, those 2 games right there.
Southampton.
That's nice.
Are a past bogey team of ours.
Did you see their coach leave right after they get relegated, dude?
They did.
Oh, that's hilarious. Or like some other guy just gonna be like, all right.
Like, they sacked 2
add it to the
coaches
resume.
this season.
Well, whoever gets those last few games just gets to add it to the resume. Premier League manager.
Yeah.
But yeah, Palace. I think that's a tough game for you. I mean, Villa's tough too, but they're juggling Champions League. I think you have the advantage.
Villa and both of those, like Palace.
Ooh,
has a red
away,
card.
Mila.
Nketiah has a red card.
Oh yeah, I forgot about. Oh, Nketiah is
so
fucking useless.
But, I mean, yeah, but
the captain being out definitely helps your case. Yeah, and you're at home.
Yeah.
Everton away is tough, dude. That's like a 0-0 waiting to happen. I don't know. I still think.
Honestly, I don't know how to predict any of these games because I don't know what Pep is going to put out. If we had
kind of in the same
lineup
spot,
or play style, I totally could try to predict.
Because you could understand
don't
how you're
know.
going to approach each
Yeah.
game, but you
I
don't
don't
know
know if we're
anymore.
running centrally. I don't know if we're gonna have fucking 4 wingers out on the pitch, or if we're
Right.
gonna have
And that's what I
fucking 8
like about
defenders.
where that's what I like at least with Chelsea. Like I understand where the manager wants to be with this team and how he's
Yes.
approaching
Well,
games.
it's a
versus-
different
Oh,
stage.
totally different ball game.
Yeah. Like
Totally
you
different
guys are
ball
trying
game.
to find
Absolutely.
your play style, whereas like
We're trying to
we are
refine
trying
it.
to
Or fix,
reform
solve.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's tough.
yeah.
But again, this is
Transitional
the
periods for both teams, but
in very different stages of transition as well, which I find all things considered, I just find it fascinating, right? Where it's one end versus the complete other end of the spectrum in terms of development and where these squads are. City have won everything imaginable. Most of those guys are still there, but they're kind of rinsed dry. And then you have a bunch of 21 to 24-year-old kids who are talented, but not there yet. And they're both, they're 1 point off each other. The same goal difference. So really interesting to kind of see how these two teams ended up where they're at right now. I mean, if you told me at the beginning of the year where we're in 4th with 7 games left to go, I would have taken it. But the path that we have taken, and I'm sure your path was very difficult too along the way. What a crazy season, man!
Last year.
Yeah, no, you won 3 more before that too.
Hey,
prick.
At the end of the day, both of our teams are
on the top half of the table, baby. What?
Not even that. They're looking likely to win a trophy this season.
Yeah, I think.
And in a transitional
Conference League's
period,
kind of a meme.
that's huge.
Conference League's a meme. It's totally a meme, but
it is.
The last trophy we won
won
was
a trophy.
the last. Most of them. The last trophy Chelsea's won was the Club World Cup, the old iteration. I mean, and that's a 2-game tournament. Before that, the UEFA Super Cup, 1 game. So the last legit trophy, if you want to call it that, was Champions League. And Chelsea's a team that win trophies. That's in the DNA. So I'm sure that would help solve another issue with our fans not connecting. Win a trophy. Silverware is the currency. I think Betis and Fiorentina are definitely good teams. You can't just walk in and beat them like you would most of the Conference League competition, I'd say.
Right.
But it's a trophy, and it means something. And I still think I wouldn't be very happy with it. But if we end up in Europa League next season, so be it. Go win that. Like, it's just what has to happen.
It's a step up from where you are now. It's not the end
Exactly.
of the world, but it would be preferred for you guys to make Champions
Do I want to make Champions League? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it'd be a travesty not to get there. But at the same time, with all due respect, do I want to have an Arsenal type of year? Would that satisfy me in 25, 26 to qualify for the Champions League, get to the round of 16, get to the quarterfinals, lose, get another top 4? Like, yeah, sure. But
I mean, if you guys challenge,
I want to be in that competition if we have a chance to win it. If we limp in and we lose, so be it. If we don't make it, we didn't deserve it. Because I think I'm looking at this table right now. It's in our hands. We're in 4th right now. Game in hand for Newcastle. We'd still be in a top 5 spot. It is in our hands. So you'd have nobody to blame but yourselves. Obviously, injuries can happen. There's refereeing decisions that are really comical nowadays that are they can impact the result of a game. But wherever we end up, we'll probably deserve to be there. So I'd like to think we end up in these top 5 spots, but it's hard to say with how we've looked the past few months. Hoping for the best.
There's no consistency in any of these teams at this point.
No, and that's the problem. Because like Newcastle, they can be hung over. Villa, they got to worry about Champions League. Yeah. I mean, it's come on.
Newcastle have to play United.
Newcastle. Well, I mean, they get to play United. United. I can't even talk crazy about them. We are so bad against them.
They play well against the better teams, and
no, absolutely they do.
Better teams. So hoping.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I do agree with that take. They definitely, Man United definitely play better against the bigger teams. It's almost like they show up for that occasion, but they don't really care about the other games. Tottenham are honestly kind of the same way. Mind you, Tottenham get beat by big teams too. Don't get it twisted. They love to lose, but Tottenham always seem to just kind of have these embarrassing performances against the lower teams versus against the big teams. Even if they do lose, it's like, okay, they were definitely competing for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Not the same.
That I feel like is more of them getting up to the occasion type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas United,
so we'll
I think tactically the way they play, it's just better teams that are going
to it's a good point.
You. So, yeah.
No doubt. Anything else, or you sorted? I'm ready to rock.
That's it. It's almost hour 30. So
Hour and a half. Yeah, that'll do. I think we had a good little
Alright.
discussion with Shudman Brendan. That was fun.
Yeah, totally off
Thanks for
track
watching,
with,
everybody.
the
No, I
US
thought it was
national
good.
team talk.
That was good. That was good, constructive conversation.
It's not in the banner.
Sorry, boys.
All right, this has been Clash of Clubs, episode 36, No Dill. We are out.
Two words for him. Different gravy.
Glorious goal! Wreathed in red. We're really seeing the most extraordinary finish here. On this day of days, has he delivered? Just magnificent! Potentially life-changing! That's football. Minute you let it under your skin, then you begin to make it better.